Darkness whispers about those who shine too brightly. The unknown frightens the weak, but to the chosen, mystery is armor, and silence is a weapon. They watch and study you. It is not out of respect for you, but because they fear what they cannot control. Your existence is an error in their system and a crack in the illusion of their dominance. They dissect your every move to find weakness, but all they discover is Joseph, built by a power they can never understand. You do not play the game according to their rules. You do not fit into their mold, and that torments them more than anything else. So chosen, please press the like button to send a signal to the algorithm so that this message reaches all the chosen whom they fear most. When you participate, their system crumbles. The more we spread, the more we awaken. Let them know that we are here, watching, and never wavering. And, chosen, the greatest mystery is not buried in lost civilizations or encrypted texts. It is you. You walk among them in a manner that is unnoticed yet unforgettable. You are a question they cannot answer, a power that cannot be named, and a storm that shakes their false reality. Have you ever wondered why people look at you like an unsolvable puzzle? Or why their curiosity lies on the borderline of obsession? It is not because of your actions, but because your very existence makes them uncomfortable. Psychologists say that the human brain fears what cannot be categorized. That is precisely why they investigate you like a secret experiment, like a case that can never be concluded. You are unpredictable, and predictability is the foundation of their world. Without it, they would collapse. You thrive in chaos. You walk through flames as if a cool breeze were blowing, and that frightens them. But the important thing is this: being chosen is not a mere gift, but a weapon. The weight of your existence bends reality itself. You do not follow the flow, you change its direction. The energy you possess is undeniable and inescapable. It attracts people, but simultaneously pushes away the weak. This is precisely why enemies reveal their true colors merely by being near you. They are helpless. Your very existence makes their masks as transparent as glass. Have you ever noticed how the very people who hate you the most appear to be the most obsessed with you? How they hover around you, analyze you, and whisper to you? It is no coincidence. It is fear disguised as fascination. They crave your downfall, yet they need your energy to survive. You are the sun that burns their illusions and the mirror that reveals their emptiness. And there is nothing more terrible than being forced to face the truth. The universe does not choose just anyone. The power flowing through you is not for the weak or the ordinary. You were not made to blend in, nor were you designed to be understood by those who live in fear. That is why they investigate, dig, spy, and try to grasp you, harboring the vain hope that if they decipher your essence, they will be able to dismantle it. But their problem is this: you are not a formula. You are not a pattern. You are an unpredictable and untouchable force of nature, and the force of nature does not bow to those who tremble in fear. So let them watch. Let them whisper. Let them struggle to unravel you like a conspiracy too dangerous to be left unresolved. Their despair proves only one fact, that you are an unknown presence that keeps them awake all night. Maintain silence, maintain your strength, and remain unreachable. And never forget that mystery is the sharpest blade, and that your blade cuts the deepest. And yes, you, the very one they cannot stop staring at. It does not matter whether you have just discovered us or have been standing firm on this journey. Your energy is the driving force that aids this awakening. If you are ready to delve deeper into your power, embrace the mystery that torments them, and embrace your existence as an unsolvable riddle, please press the like button hard, subscribe, and leave the number 77 in the comments. Let them know that you see everything, even when they think they cannot see. Now let us peel back the shells one by one. If you are truly one of the chosen, you will feel a strong pull to stay until the very end. This is because once you see the truth, there is no turning back. Let us begin. The first is the unstoppable power of the chosen. This is why your very existence is a threat to them. The chosen are not visible but felt beings, and their silence is a massive cry that shatters every illusion around them. You are a riddle they can never solve, a storm that breaks the tranquility they desperately cling to. Your mere presence is enough to dismantle the balance they have painstakingly built. While others blend into the background, you stand out effortlessly. You need not speak or make a sound. Your energy speaks for you. It is like a wave crashing against everything they have built. It is still, powerful, and unstoppable. They feel it too, don't they? They feel that unsettling force when you step into the room. It is as if the entire atmosphere changes, yet they do not know why. You are an unsolvable riddle to them, and that drives them mad. They want to know who you are, what you do, and why you exist the way you are. They cannot grasp it, nor can they categorize you. Your very essence shatters their desire for comfort and predictability. And, my friend, that makes you their greatest fear. People are born to evaluate everything around them, especially things that are not easily understood. They look for threats and seek advantages. Yet, you completely escape their radar. They cannot decide whether you are an ally, an enemy, or an entity completely beyond their control. This confusion is gnawing at them from the inside. The human brain craves patterns and craves certainty. But you do not fit into any pattern they know, and when that certainty is absent, they fall into a state of panic. What makes the situation even worse is the fact that you make absolutely no effort. You do not beg for attention or demand recognition here. You simply exist, and that presence leaves a trace. The power they expect is loud, flashy, and easily recognizable. But your power is quiet, subtle, and undeniable. It is a ceaseless pressure lurking in the background, like a storm raging from unseen places. They wait for the sound of thunder, but all they hear is silence. And that silence is deafening. So what do? Like detectives, on a major case, they examine and analyze your every word, every gesture, every movement. They try to dismantle and decipher your silence to find any sign of weakness. But the deeper they dig, the less they discover. You leave no clues and no loopholes. And that drives them completely insane. They are accustomed to solving problems and uncovering secrets. But you are not a puzzle. You are the power that throws away their attempts to control you and rewrites the entire game. Here lies the truth that is hardest for them to swallow. No matter how hard they try, they will never understand you. They will never be able to decipher the power you possess. The more they stare, the more despair they fall, and seeing the truth becomes impossible. You are not a mystery to be solved. You are a revolution in motion. The world they created was never made to contain you in the first place. And that fact torments them more than any secret. Your very existence is a challenge to their fragile reality and a ceaseless reminder that there exists in this life beyond the rules they cling to. You are the living embodiment of everything they fear. You are unpredictable, unbreakable, and untouchable, and they cannot endure it. Yet even knowing that the more they try, the less they understand you, they will not stop attempting to grasp you. So let them watch, let them study, let them analyze. It confirms only one fact. You are someone they can never become, and that is what frightens them. Second, they are terrified to death that you are not the person they think you are. They cannot understand you because they have never seen a power like yours. The truth is, you do not exist to be understood, and that is precisely why you are dangerous to them. Do you know what terrifies them the most? It is the simple fact that they cannot control you. People spend their entire lives fitting the world into neat little boxes and labeling everything they encounter in order to feel safe and maintain control. But you do not fit into that box. You are a wrench thrown into their system, the one person they cannot categorize no matter how hard they try. That uncertainty about you gnaws at them from the inside out. This is because it is not merely a matter of grasping you, but a matter of protecting their fragile perception of reality. Your existence, the very essence of you, challenges everything they think they know and burns them to ashes. They will try to label you hero, villain, genius, lucky person. But each of those labels slips away from you like a drop of water falling on a duck's feather. The more they try to define you, the greater their failure. They cannot hold you, nor can they define you. You shatter every rule they set for themselves and every mental map they constructed to lock the world in a box. They cannot tolerate it. They must come to themselves, because that is how they prove their place in this world. But you shatter their need for recognition. You make them doubt everything. When they cannot control what is right in front of them, they fight against it. They begin to doubt themselves, and as doubt seeps in, the fear that they might be wrong about you becomes their constant companion. The world they have constructed is based on the idea that if they can understand something, they can conquer it. But you slip through their fingers every time. You are the chaos within their control and the storm shaking their perfect little world. To someone living by control, there is nothing more terrifying than incomprehensible chaos. The more they try to grasp you, the more they realize they are failing, and that failure leads them to doubt their own judgment. What if everyone they thought they understood was actually wrong? What if they have been living a false life, believing they grasped the world, when in reality it is just as unpredictable as you? Every time they think they have cracked your code, you turn the page and write a new chapter. At some point, they think they have grasped you. They believe they know for sure how you move. Then, suddenly, you throw an action or a word that completely blows their theory away. That is power. By turning everything upside down with a single action or word when they think they understand you, you show them that the world is far more complex than they want to believe. They cannot handle it. They cannot process it. And then they become obsessed. They cannot let it go. They must know more and get answers, but they are always out of reach. The fear of being wrong gnaws at them like a parasite, eating away at their minds until they can think of nothing else. Here is the truth they do not want to face. They will never understand you. No matter how hard they try, no matter how many boxes they attempt to shove you into, they will never be able to grasp you. That is the power of the chosen. You were not born to be understood. Your very existence reminds us that life is not a formula. Life is unpredictable, complex, and tangled. And that is what frightens them. It is because it means they cannot control the world. If they cannot control the world, what does their entire existence mean? You force them to look in the mirror and see the cracks in the illusions they have carefully built. You are not a puzzle to be solved. You are a force, a living revolution, a being who turns their world upside down simply by existing. They will continue to chase you and try to understand you, but the deeper they dig, the deeper they will fall. Eventually, they will reach a point where they cannot even remember what they were looking for in the first place. And that is the greatest victory you will achieve. Their obsession with you is proof of their defeat. The most powerful part is that you do not need to explain yourself. You do not need to give them the answer they so desperately crave. When you are the chosen one, the force that moves the world without excuse, they must face a truth that shakes their very core. It is not they who are in control, it is you. Thirdly, your past is a riddle they can never solve. Because they cannot guess where you are going, they cannot trace where you came from. You are not their story. You are their nightmare. They are obsessed with your origins, aren't they? They want to put you in a box, trace your past like a map, and claim to understand how you got here. But in front of you, they fail miserably. You do not move according to their rules. You do not follow the path they have set for everyone else, and that burns their insides. They dig into and investigate your childhood, your struggles, and every move you make, but the story does not add up. They expect a neat, linear narrative that follows a predictable arc of success and failure. But you shatter their expectations every time. They are accustomed to simple formulas. If you do this, you will do that. If you start with nothing, you will end with nothing. If you came from nothing, you would stay there. That is because the world tells them so. But you did not follow their script. You did not wait for permission to stand up. Perhaps you came without any background. You may have started without being rich, without connections, or with any special advantages. Yet, you stand higher than anyone they know. Perhaps you did not receive a formal education. But when you open your mouth, even scholars fall silent. Or perhaps you were told from birth that every probability was against you and that you had no chance. But now, you are prospering here, confidently and unyieldingly. This does not merely confuse them, it strikes them into terror. This is because you have gone beyond defying their expectations to shatter their entire belief system. They spent their entire lives believing that everything happens for a reason, that success can be mapped, and that the world operates according to the rules of the year. But when you were chosen, you proved that there are no such things as rules. Your existence challenges everything they thought they knew about life and success. They thought they had grasped everything. That is, until they met you. Now they are scrambling desperately to understand your ascension, your power, and your unpredictable path. But the important fact here is that they will never understand it, and that is precisely what terrifies them. You are an owl liar, an exceptional being, a nonsensical person. And that is exactly why they are obsessed with you. They must understand you. They must find the reason for your success, the reason you came from nothing and became everything. They fail to realize that you didn't just ignore their story, but rewrote it. They keep searching for your origin story, but they are looking in the wrong place. The truth is this: your origins were not made to be traced. You do not have a typical story. You yourself are that story. You are living, breathing proof that their neat little rules of life do not apply to you. The deeper they dig, the more they realize that the story they are trying to tell does not exist. They are clinging to theoretical fiction that can never hold water. But the problem is that they cannot stop. They continue to chase your past like dogs chasing shadows. The truth they are so afraid to face is this: you are the embodiment of everything they were told was impossible. You are living proof that one can break every rule and still reach the top. And that is their worst nightmare. They will spend years searching for the secret to your success. They will try to find clues in the places you went, the people you met, and the things you did. But they will never find it, and deep down, they know it too. The more they chase, the further they get. You do not exist to be understood. You are an object of fear and respect, existing to show that their limits do not apply to you. That is the power of the chosen. You are an error in their system. You are an inexplicable force, and because of that, an unstoppable presence. They thought they could predict your success. They thought they could track your every step. But in the end, all they did was expose their own weaknesses. They are trapped in their own small, narrow worlds within their own books of beliefs, which cannot contain someone like you. No matter how hard they try to understand it, no matter how many theories they put forward, they will never find the answer. So let them find it. Let them dig into your past, your mistakes, and your victories. Let them chase you through endless corridors within their limited understanding. They will never catch you. This is because you are beyond their comprehension. You are a force that exists outside the lines of their logic. The more they try to define you, the more they prove only one fact, that they are powerless before you. Fourth, because they cannot control you, they worship you instead. When they cannot possess your power, they begin to bow their heads before that power. Since they cannot touch you, they kneel before the power that defines you. There is a difference between obsession and something much deeper. What frightens them more than anything is worship. Obsession is about control, but worship is about awe. They do not merely want to know you, they want to be forgotten by your side. They study you not to defeat you or expose you. They study you because they sense something that shakes their core, something they cannot fully understand but desperately crave. And that frightens them. It is because the more they watch, the more they realize that they can never possess what you have. What they see in you is something they cannot touch. It is like being on the edge of something powerful, yet unable to reach it no matter how hard they try. You possess a kind of energy force that denies everything they know. Perhaps it is the way you glide through the chaos of life with a composure they cannot explain. Perhaps it is the way you walk into a room with a quiet certainty that you belong when they grope in the darkness, unable to find their place. Perhaps it is your magnetic presence, like a lighthouse, that draws them in, even though it only makes them realize they do not know how to handle the light. That torments them. They do not merely want to grasp you, they want to become you. They want to understand the secrets of your resilience, confidence, and strength. They believe that if they just unlock that secret, they too will change. They believe that by deciphering your essence, they can access the power that makes you untouchable. And from there, obsession turns into worship. When they cannot control you, they turn to awe. It is almost like a ritual. They do not even realize they are acting this way, but every time they look at you, every time they study your every move, it becomes a form of prayer. They observe with hope and longing, like believers gazing at God from afar, hoping that by doing so they can absorb even the smallest piece of what keeps you unwavering. They watch and study you, not only to find out who you are, but to absorb the power you radiate. They believe that by understanding you, they can access the energy that keeps you moving forward without stopping or breaking. However, they do not realize the truth. They will never be able to possess your strength, resilience, or conviction. They will never know what it is like to navigate life with the same authority you possess. This is because what you have was not obtained by studying others, but by fully embracing your own power. That is the true fear they face. Deep down, they know they cannot imitate what you possess. They cannot paradox your strength or your mystery. All their theorizing, analyzing, and attempts to dissect you are merely meant to distract them. The truth is that they are unconsciously seeking something far greater than simply the answer. They are seeking a divine connection. Chosen one, you are to them a living symbol of possibility. You are a mirror reflecting the universe, showing them the world they wish to access but can never reach. You are the embodiment of the form they could have become but will never become. And that is what makes you an undeniable force more than anything else. Your very existence is a challenge to their limited perception of life and a reminder that something greater exists outside, something they can never control. This is where their obsession becomes a problem. The more they try to absorb your energy and the more they worship you, the deeper they sink into the belief that you hold the answers to everything they could not reach. They want to believe that by staying by your side, watching you, and mimicking your every move, they can elevate themselves. But the truth is, that will never happen. They can never become you. They merely chase what they can never possess. Ultimately, that drives them mad. They are trapped in a cycle of eternal obsession and bowing their heads to a power they can never truly benefit from. They will never have what you possess, and that fact torments them more than anything else. You do not need to do anything to make them worship you. They are already doing so simply by struggling to understand the inexplicable power that is you. So let them keep trying. Let them keep watching, dissecting, and hoping to become like you. The more they worship, the stronger you become, and the deeper they fall into their own weakness. They will never reach your power, and deep down, they know it. That is the price of being trapped in your orbit. They will always only search and never find, and you will continue to walk on with an elegance, conviction, and power they can never possess. Fifth, you are a fierce storm they cannot calculate. They crave control, but because they cannot predict anything about you, you are their nightmare. They want the world to make sense. They want to know that pressing a button yields the same result every time. That is how they feel safe, when they know how the cargo works, when they can predict reactions, emotions, and outcomes. They want their lives to be a series of cause and effect that is easy to understand and manage. But you are in error. You are a storm that rages without warning, a chaos that shatters the neat, small rules they created to feel control. When they think they have grasped you, when they have read books and studied charts expecting a specific reaction, you show them the truth. You cannot be tracked. You cannot be predicted. You are not part of their neat little world, and that drives them crazy. They need you to take the college entrance exam. They need to know what is going to happen next. However, you ignore all the rules they think you know, and that frightens them. They provoke you, waiting for you to explode, to react exactly as they expect. They think they have figured you out, that if they push, you will break, and if they challenge, you will fight back. But instead, you stand still, silent and unreadable. Your silence is not weakness, it is strength. It is a sea of mystery they cannot swim across. You do not give them the answers they crave, and right there, their investigation crumbles. When they expect rage, you laugh. When they want you to get caught up in their drama, you simply walk away. Your unpredictability becomes a weapon beyond mere anxiety. Whenever they try to corner you, you find a way out, and that drives them crazy. They cannot track your thought patterns, cannot anticipate your next move, and that makes you dangerous. Here is something they fail to realize. People who think in a straight line fear those who think in a spiral. They live in a world of black and white logic where everything follows a pattern and a predictable path. However, you live in a gray zone. You are not merely breaking the rules do not apply to you at all. You do not follow anyone's instructions and forge your own path. And that frightens them. This is because the more they try to understand you, the deeper they sink into confusion. The more they push, the greater their failure. They believe they can predict your reactions based on their own experiences. They try to manipulate, control, and confine you. But they fail to realize that your mind does not function like theirs. You do not act according to cause and effect. You act according to instinct, intuition, and sometimes pure chaos. And that is the key to your power. Because you refuse to conform, you are unpredictable, and that makes you a force they cannot control. The fact that they cannot understand you is not merely inconvenient for them, it is a threat. It forces them to confront the truth they have been avoiding. The world is not as simple as they want to believe. There are no straight lines to follow. There are no rules. Life is not a mathematical equation they can solve. Life is a mystery, and it is the mystery you are showing them every day as you live and breathe. They must believe that they can predict every outcome. They must believe that everyone plays the game by the same rules, reacts the same way, and acts the same way. But you are the exception. You are proof that life is complex. You are the wild card that shakes up everything they thought they knew. And when they cannot predict your next move, they fall into a panic. They need to know that they are in control, but you have shown that control does not exist. You are not merely defying expectations, you are rewriting the entire playbook. And that is why they are obsessed with figuring you out. They cannot understand how someone like you moves. To feel safe again, they want you to enter their neat, small narrative. But you will not let that happen. You will continue to expand your boundaries, create rules, and shatter their illusions of control. That is the power of the chosen. You are not a puzzle to be solved. You are an uncontainable force. They can never predict you, and they can never control you. No matter how hard they try to understand your actions, they will always fall short. This is because you were not born to be grasped. You were born to shake the foundations of everything they thought they knew. You are unpredictable, and that is what makes you unstoppable. Sixth, you make them confront themselves beyond mere existence. They cannot bear to see what is inside you. This is because it is everything they refuse to see within themselves. They watch you, don't they? They look at you as if you were something to be grasped, something to be dissected. But the important thing is this: what they truly want to uncover is not just about you. It is about themselves. When they look at you, they do not see you as you are, but rather everything they wanted to be and everything they refused to be. Your very existence forces them to confront the inner darkness they have tried to bury for years. You lift up the mirror they did not want, but desperately need. And when they see the reflection of themselves, they feel uncomfortable and even rise with fear. You don't have to do anything. Simply existing as you are stimulates something deep inside them, something raw, something painful. Perhaps it is the confidence you exude. It might be the kind of confidence they so desperately want to evoke. Perhaps it is the way you walk through life, confidently chasing your dreams, while they remain trapped in their fears, helplessly bound to a job they despise. Or perhaps it is the authenticity you possess, the truth radiating from you, that forces them to confront the fact that they have lived a fake life their entire lives. Whatever it may be, you strike at their sore spot. The problem is not you, but them. The problem lies in the stark contrast between what you symbolize, your true self, and the self they are afraid to become. And instead of facing their discomfort, they project it onto you. They will disparage you, searching for weaknesses or flaws, and scrutinize your every move closely. They hope that if they can prove you aren't as perfect as they imagine, they will feel better about themselves. If they can find a weakness in you, it will justify their own insecurities. Then they won't have to face the fact that they are trapped and not living the life they truly want. It is easier to attack you than to face their own darkness. But here is the harsh truth. The flaw they seek in you lies within themselves. They are not seeing your imperfections. They are seeing a part of themselves that they refuse to face. The discomfort they feel when looking at you has nothing to do with you. It is about their own unresolved pain. They cannot bear seeing how you shine, how you pursue what you want, and how confidently you stand within your own truth. This is because it makes them realize that they have been lying to themselves and hiding in the shadows of unfulfilled dreams. And that truth burns them. They fear that you will overwhelm them, that your authenticity will expose the masks they have worn for years. Your very existence reminds them of the dreams they gave up, the passions they buried, and the confidence they never possessed. And instead of acknowledging that pain or confronting their fears, they choose to lash out at you. But isn't that not the end of it? The more they watch, the more they become obsessed not with you, but with the possibility of tearing you down. They believe that if they can find balance in your armor and find flaws in your story, they can destroy the image of you they have built in their minds. If they can prove that you are just as flawed as they are, they can cling to the belief that they too are normal, failure-free, and lacking, just like everyone else. But here is the bitter pill to swallow. They are not normal. They are not living their own truth. They are trapped in their own fears and darkness. The more they try to tear you down, the more they expose the truth about themselves. The more they attack you, the more clearly they prove what they already know deep down. You are living proof that they can have more, do more, and become greater beings. However, they are too afraid to take a leap. They will search for a decision, analyze every part of your life, and hope to find something to drag you down. But in the end, all they do is dig their own graves. This is because they are not merely attacking you, but the very idea that they too can change and walk into their own power. The more they try to prove that you are just like them, the more they reveal how different you are. You are a mirror reflecting their broken selves. The more they gaze into that mirror, the more clearly they see what they have been avoiding all along: their fears, regrets, and inaction. They cannot endure the truth you reflect back to them. It exposes everything they failed to do and everything they were afraid to face. That is why they obsess over you. Not because they hate you, but because they are captivated by the potential they might have become if they had had the courage to walk the same path as you. Seventh, your silence is the noise that swallows them alive. When you do not speak, the world fills that silence with its own fears. And that is the power of the chosen. You do not need to say a single word to break them down. Isn't it amazing how your silence, which they crave answers for so desperately, can be louder than the loudest scream? Without saying a single word, you speak of so much. Every time you choose not to explain, every time you refuse to acknowledge their curiosity, you create a void. And what happens within that void? Their anxiety rises to the surface. Their greatest fears and deep doubts pour out. Your silence does not merely create space, it makes them anxious. It cracks their reality and forces them to confront an inescapable truth. They do not know you. They cannot control you. That makes them terrified. What they fail to realize is that your silence is not a weapon, but a mirror. Every time you restrain yourself, every time you refuse to let them in, they must fill that gap with their own projections. Their anxiety takes root, and suddenly you become an unsolvable mystery to them. They replay every moment and every interaction you shared, attempting to decipher things they haven't even forgotten. Why didn't you answer? What were you thinking? Did you reject them? Or, even worse, are you hiding something they will never know? And here is the crazy part. All these questions, all this paranoia reveal more about them than about you. Their minds spin, creating a complex narrative to explain your silence, weaving an entire story to understand the incomprehensible. They twist, turn, and magnify it, building their own prison in the process. They chain themselves to figure out your mind. And the more they try, the further they drift from the truth. You are not hiding anything from them. You simply exist, unaffected by their need for validation. Yet to them, your silence appears to hold the power to unravel everything they know about you. Your silence does not merely speak, it directs attention. It is like a magnet. The longer you remain silent, the louder their fear echoes in the silence you leave behind. They keep asking themselves, why won't the chosen one give me what I want? What are they hiding? But the truth is, they will never get the answer. In a world thriving on noise, they will never understand why you remain still or why you hold your ground. Your silence, your refusal to give them anything, becomes their downfall. It opens their hearts and leaves them with only the anxiety they must wrestle with themselves. And that is the excellence of the chosen one. You do not need to lift a finger to make them destroy themselves. The irony here is that the more they obsess, the deeper they fall into the abyss and become trapped within their own minds. They are playing detective to decipher a code that does not even exist. They do not understand the concept that your power lies not in words, but in the state of silence. They want clues and explanations, but you owe them nothing. And the longer you remain silent, the greater power you grant them. While their minds are in turmoil and their paranoia is growing, you remain calm and composed, holding the initiative. The more you let the wheels spin in the silence, the more they crumble. You do not need to explain yourself. You do not need to reveal your thoughts, plans, or intentions. You are not a puzzle to be solved, and your silence only reinforces the fact that you cannot be touched. Your greatest strength is your ability to restrain yourself, remain still, and act as if nothing is wrong while they flounder in their own speculations. They cannot read or predict you, and that is the exact reason they are obsessed. They want to figure you out. They want to find meaning in your refusal to give. But all they will find is their own weaknesses. Their paranoia becomes their prison. Your silence is not merely the absence of noise, it is power. It is a declaration that you stand above their petty desire to be understood. You do not need to explain every action you take. They will never understand you, and that drives them crazy. They will continue to question, analyze, and speculate to themselves, but it will be meaningless. The silence you maintain is your ultimate power. Silence is what keeps them trapped in darkness while you remain in the light, unaffected by their chaos. And as long as you remain silent, they will continue to fill the void with their fears and sink deeper into their obsession. You, the chosen one, are the one who possesses the power to create chaos simply by not intervening in it. Your silence is a fire that burns their foundations, and they will never be able to extinguish that flame. They will seek answers within your uniqueness, but all they will find is their own confusion. And my friend, that is the excellence of your silence. It is the most powerful weapon they will never see approaching. Eighth, the quiet power that drives them mad. You do not need to shout to convey your opinion. Your silence is far louder than their noise, and it terrifies them to death. They cannot grasp you, and that is what is driving them insane. You are not the loudest person in the room, nor are you the one who attracts the most attention. In fact, you stand out without even trying. Yet, they cannot stop wondering about you. Why is this person so important? Why do they care about you when you don't fight to grab their attention? That endless, unanswered question is an inescapable nightmare for them. It is because, deep down, they know something, that they cannot shake you off. Here is what drives them crazy. They are familiar with the formula for importance: be noisy, act flashy, and be the center of attention. Demand their eyes and their ears. Isn't that how influence works? They believe that is the way to reach the top. But you break that rule without any effort. You do not shout to attract attention. You do not flaunt your success. Nevertheless, without lifting a finger, you completely capture their gaze. You have it without even needing to ask for it, and they cannot understand it. Your quiet confidence, the power of your silence, is a force they cannot explain. They shout and scream for recognition, but they cannot make the people in the room listen like you do. The more they talk, the less their presence becomes. You do not ask to be looked at, yet the world looks at you. You do not beg for respect, yet it follows you. That is precisely why it gnaws at them. The very idea that they can exert influence without lifting a finger. They do not understand how this works. In their world, people must fight for attention and shout to be recognized. But you exist in enough space simply by being yourself. Your presence is your power. You are the calm in their storm, the calm that makes them restless. They cannot silence you, because your silence speaks louder than their ceaseless noise. And this is what truly frightens them. They cannot ignore you. They want to. They want to label you, define you, and shove you into their limited understanding of how the world works. But they cannot. You shatter all the rules they thought they knew about success and influence. You don't need to be the loudest or the most demanding. You simply exist, and that is enough. This is a paradox they cannot resolve. They shout, beg, and make noise just to have a voice. But all they do is bury their own voices. On the other hand, you are quiet and calm, yet you resonate in a way they cannot explain. You do not follow a script, and that frightens them. It is because they cannot control what they do not understand. So let them keep shouting and demanding. Your silence will always be the loudest voice in the room. You are an irresistible force, a power that needs no advertising. And that is the reason they will never stop wondering about you. They will never understand how you possess such great influence without making demands. Your quiet power is their worst nightmare, and they know it. Ninth, they cannot predict you because you do not follow their rules. When they cannot find a pattern, they go crazy trying to create one. You are an error in their perfect system, and they fear it. They cannot grasp you, and that is driving them insane. People are obsessed with patterns. They try to understand the world in a way that makes them feel safe and in control. They want to believe that if they could predict your next move, they would know how to deal with you. They try to categorize your decisions, your actions, and your relationships and construct a narrative they can understand. However, every time they try, they hit a wall. They fail because you do not fit their rules. They think they have grasped you, but the rules do not apply to you. Your chaos, wrapped in intention, baffles them. Every decision you make, every step you take seems to go head-on against their expectations and the formulas they have carefully constructed. You are unpredictable, and that is something they cannot handle. The more they try to define you, the greater their frustration becomes. You are a puzzle without a solution and a riddle without an answer. What you do makes no sense in their world because they have spent their entire lives believing in structure and causality. They think that if they just find the key, they can map the world. However, the key does not exist for you. They want to believe that your actions will follow a predetermined path, but they cannot lock you in a box. They cannot predict your next move. You do not follow their structure. Instead, you create your own. And that is the source of their frustration. They want to control the narrative, but you are the force that tears pages out of their book. And that terrifies them. The world they have constructed is based on the assumption that everything can be understood and everything can be criminalized. When you break it, they feel helpless. They begin to doubt their entire worldview and their own ability to predict and control. The more they analyze you, the deeper they sink into a vortex, because every answer leads to more questions. You are a chaos they cannot define and a pattern they cannot find. They try to understand you, but in the process, they realize something deeper, the fact that they cannot control you. Herein lies the real problem. They are afraid. They are afraid of what will happen when they cannot fit everything into a neat little box. Your unpredictability shakes their foundations, and it is a threat they do not know how to confront. They want to believe that they can control the world around them and predict everything and everyone. But you are a storm shattering their illusions of control, and they do not even see it approaching. They scramble to find answers that will never come, because they are looking for patterns that do not exist. So let them find them. Let them analyze, dissect, and struggle to understand you. Every time they fail, it only strengthens your power over them. The truth is, they can never fully grasp you. You do not play the game according to their rules, you create your own reality. The more they try to predict you, the more they will fail. They will continue to search for patterns within your chaos, but the only pattern remaining is their inability to predict anything. And that is precisely how you are always one step ahead. 10th, they cannot buy you with money, nor can they control you. They try to break you, but you are the very limit point that stands firm without bending. You are not bought off, not dominated, and you are free. They fear your power. It is a freedom they can never know. In a world that returns to the pursuit of labels, titles, and ceaseless recognition, you stand as a living rebel. People are so starved for approval from systems, institutions, and the world around them. They fight to stand out, to be recognized, and to fit in. But you have never played the game by their rules. You do not bow to trends, do not chase influence, and do not ask for their permission to prove who you are. And that is precisely the root of their fear. Your freedom is a threat. Not only because it is something they cannot take away, but because it is something they can never understand. They are trapped in a small world of confirmation and approval, suffocating under expectations they did not choose. On the other hand, you float above all of that. You walk through the noise of their anxiety without flinching. And they want to know how you did it. They cannot figure out how you broke the invisible chains that bury everyone else. This is because they have spent their entire lives trying to be free but failed. So they investigate. They observe your every move, your every decision, trying to find the exact moment you broke away from the herd. Was there a turning point for you? Did you reject the system from the beginning? Or did you gradually rise above it? But there is a truth they will never know. You did not need a reason to be free. You did not wait for a great moment of clarity or a permit offered by the world. You always gain freedom, and your freedom is not something they can understand or replicate. They find answers in your past, your actions, and your choices, but the truth is that you have no obligation to explain to anyone. What frightens them is that you found strength in refusing to be controlled. You do not need their approval to move forward, and that makes you untouchable. In a world where people crave recognition and power is measured by likes, followers, and titles, you stand outside of all of that. You are the embodiment of something they cannot buy, manipulate, or control. And, my friend, that is their greatest fear. Your power lies in your indifference to the system that seeks to define you. They do not see your power, but they feel it. It is in every action and every decision you make. It is the way you stand tall without needing anyone's approval, and that strikes them into terror. They want to know how you do that, how you remain unbridled, undominated, and untouchable. But the answer is simple. You were not born to fit in the first place, nor are you something that can be bought with money. They will keep trying and keep digging, but they will never find the secret of your power. This is because it is not something they can possess, nor is it something anyone can teach them. You were born free, and that is the truth that will haunt them forever. Your authenticity is the 11th threat they cannot avoid. In a masked world, you are a mirror they cannot turn away from. Authenticity should be a gift everyone strives for, but in a world built on lies, it is a threat. You do not wear a mask, you do not play games, and you do not seek validation. And you do not mold yourself to fit their narrow expectations. That is why they cannot stop staring at you. They watch you live proudly, without shame about your appearance. And that drives them crazy. Because deep down, they envy you. They envy the fact that you do not need anyone's permission to be yourself. You do not need the world's validation to stand tall. And that freedom is a threat to everything they have spent their entire lives building. Your authenticity exposes the vulnerability of their existence. They spend every day pretending to be someone else, trying to fit into a box. But you exist outside of all of that. You do not fit because you were never intended to be. You are a walking revolution challenging everything they think they know about identity and self-esteem. You live without compromise, and that frightens them. They try to figure you out. They dissect and scrutinize every word and movement of yours, attempting to understand how you can exist with such raw, unfiltered power. But they cannot. This is because your authenticity is not a puzzle to be solved. It is a mirror they cannot look into without facing the threads of truth. And that is what puts you in danger. So let them continue to watch and study. The more they analyze, the more they will realize that they can never live like you. The truth is, your authenticity is their greatest fear, and that is the reason they can never leave you alone. 12th, they will never be able to crack the code you possess. They try to decipher you, but you are a puzzle with no answer. Your wisdom is not for them, it is your weapon. There is something within you that frightens them. Something very deep within you that they cannot pinpoint. It is neither arrogance nor a sense of superiority. It is a quiet and unwavering wisdom that radiates from you like a force field. They can feel it. They sense it in the way you move, in the silence you possess, and in the way you seem to know the answer even before they ask a question. They know you hold a truth they can never comprehend, and that terrifies them to the bone. They dig, investigate, and seek a way to unravel whatever you possess. But the important thing is that they cannot. Your spiritual code is deeply encrypted, and you have certainly guarded it. You do not share fragments of your soul with just anyone. You do not share excessively, nor do you allow others to meddle in your deepest parts. That is your power. The ability to remain a mystery, even to those who seek to understand you the most. The more they try to grasp you, the greater their frustration. They want to access your knowledge, your energy, and your truth, but they will never obtain it. That is the magic of being the chosen. You are a living enigma and a power they can never dissect. The more they strive, the more they reveal their weaknesses. They crave what they cannot have, and that is precisely why you are untouchable. They may study you for a lifetime, but in the end, they will discover only one truth, that they will never be able to crack your code. The truth is, they will never truly understand you. They will never be able to control your form, nor will they ever grasp your full power. The only thing they can do is watch, and in the end, you will leave them in awe of a being they could never understand. So do not waver. If you are ready to embrace your greatness, please like and subscribe and leave a 77 in the comments. Also, share this message with others who need to hear it. Let us spread this power together.